the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
What's up? What's up? Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. So I want to, before I say hi to everybody, I need to preface that my computer literally just a few minutes ago decided to just shut down. So everything I had open is gone. I'm starting to open it all back up as we are live now. But I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for being here. It's just going to be a couple minutes while I have to try to pull everything up. But I wanted to say hi to everybody. Hi, Tony, and Princess Megan Elsa is here. Hey, Dina and Juju B. Hey, what's up? Defense Diaries podcast. At Tony. Hi, the Rockaways. My Shea Boobay. Hi, Queen Olive. Have you guys seen Claus? Has she been in here yet? I haven't seen her today. Hi, Malicious Intent is wearing her criminality hoodie while she's watching. What? Hi, Teresa. Hi, BR. Tony. Hi, Sundown Farms. Hey, Shane. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Todd. Hi, Bonnie. Dina. My like button has been activated. Has yours? Aries Fire. Hi, my Sharky Soul Sister. Hi, Shelly. Welcome back. And Ginger Snaps. Ramblin' Rome. My Shmita. Hey, Glenn. Hi, Corey. Oh, the Rockaways. I know. I have them ready. Well, I have a couple of them ready to go. I'll have to bring the other ones back up. But yes, we're going to go over that. Hi, Humanimal. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Marshall and Stephanie. Hit the history button and then restore. Okay, well, I did that with all my documents. I'll have to, I don't know. Like I said, I literally was I pulled this up. It was time to go live. I hit go live and here we are. Hi, K-Bird. Hi, Pointa. Hi, Carol. Hey, True Crime Crazy. Check Messenger. Okay. I shall do that. Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Shay. Thank you for letting me know. Hi, Kaleido. Hi, ATS. Hi, BG. Okay, so today's live was going to be a look back on some of the interviews with the investigators and the family, and I spent like the last 2 days pulling as many as I could from as many sources as I could, and I realized that there's so much that I need to break it into two. So I decided we were going to do just the investigators, and then we'll do like the family separately. So as I decided to do that, then of course I get the new documents today. And I'm like, oh, great. So now we're going to start off with some of the new docs. Yeah, then the new docs dropped. Yep. So change of plans. We're going to go over the new docs, and they're quite interesting. If you haven't read them, you'll find them very intriguing. And then we're going to get back we're going to go back through the investigators. And I found some little nuggets about Dan Dulan that I thought were quite interesting. So I'm going to bring those to your guys' attention too. And maybe you guys have seen them. I just had not. So we're going to get to it. Hi, Heather Brett. Yeah, Patches. They're not odorless on patches, though. Hi, Allie. Twisted Gemini, what's up? Hey, more tea lives. Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna spread it. I have to spread it out a little bit because it's just so much. I mean, shoot, it's been so many years that there's just so much. Hi, spread love, not hate. Okay, if I missed it, hi, Heather. I don't think I missed anybody. Hopefully I said hi to everybody. Okay, let's just get into it because otherwise, you know how this is going to go. We're going to end up here all night, and we don't want to do that either. New docs, yes. You new docs. Hey, Johnny. Tactical Dragonfly. Hi, Dolphin Lover. Okay, so let's pull up what we've got. And like I said, half my stuff is gone, so if it takes me a minute to get back to where I was, just show me a little bit of grace, please. Okay, so you just want to get right into the affidavits. All right, hold on. Let's pull up this one. C-Dub! Just watched something on Norse Gods Odin last night and more convinced the perpetrators were Viking fans, as was popular back then by macho guys and others. Yeah, I mean, they just say, in Odin we trust. They don't have anything to do with Odinism. Come on. Come on. Everybody can relax. It wasn't some crazy Odinist, guys, just a little bit of Nordic pagan heathenism that worships Odin on the side. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. I had so much pulled up for you guys. I think that's why my computer crashed, because it was like, yeah, no. We like you, but we don't like you that much. And so everything was just like, nope, we're not doing it. Hi, Meta Mom. Music City Mom. All right. Let's see, make sure you guys can see it on your end. And I'm going to totally butcher this guy's name, but it's the Warden, John Galapio. Galipio. If you guys want to spell it out for me a little easier, then go ahead. But otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and butcher that name. He is the acting warden of Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, affirms and swears to the following. So we're going with he's the warden. Oh, Rockway's thanks. That the defendant, Richard Allen, is housed in the Westville Correctional Facility in the segregation unit. You know, they're doing it to keep him safe, right? That's why he's in prison and not in jail. She's like, I never even knew what an affidavit was. Okay. That the defendant is housed in that unit for his own protection. That the cell that the defendant is housed in is a 12x8, which is the standard size cell in that facility. That the correctional officers guarding the defendant are assigned to that unit by myself and command. The correctional officers at Westville Correctional Facility were allowed to wear any patches on their vests until the allegations made by the defense in their motion. You guys see that? Okay, let me make sure you guys, let me blow it up a little bit more, make sure you guys can see this. That the correctional officers at Westville Correctional Facility were allowed to wear any patches on their vests until the allegations made by the defense in their motion. That the Westville Correctional Facility offers religious services if there are at least 5 individuals that practice the religion in the complex. And to date, we have not had more than 5 individuals in the complex request to hold services related to Odinism. We've not had more than 5. that the defendant is on video while he is in his cell and when he is moved from his cell, that the defendant is monitored by at least three correctional officers at all times during movement, that Sergeant Randy Jones and Sergeant Joshua Robinson were never placed on duty at the cell door to act as suicide companion of the defendant one-on-one. You guys remember Jones and Robinson from the memorandum. They're the ones who like to bring in the handheld camera and videotape, even though there's no audio, it's just video. But they make sure that Richard Allen is facing them while they recorded it. That I have never received any reports that Sergeant Randy Jones and Sergeant Joshua Robinson have mistreated the defendant. That no one in the facility has ever been ordered by command to threaten, harass, or put the defendant in danger. That the defendant is housed by himself and does not have any direct contact with other inmates. That I do not have an agenda or a vested interest in keeping the defendant incarcerated in a facility that is ripe with connections to Odinism. That Westville Correctional Facility has very few inmates that practice Odinism. That none of those inmates are housed with or next to the defendant. But there are Odinists there. There's just not more than 5, you guys. There's not more than 5. So they don't have more than 5. That's really all that is. But there are still Odinists there. You like how they do it as a negative, though. Okay, now we'll pull up. I think this one is Jones's. Make sure you guys can see it. Hi, everybody popping in. That's kind of a lot, though. What is you know what? I wonder, let's look that up. How many prisoners are in a Westville prison? Let's see. This one says it's about 3,100. Is that right? I'd be interested to know more of the statistics, but we'll have to look into that. Okay, so now this is the affidavit of Sergeant Randy Jones. Hi, Mrs. M. Sergeant Randy Jones, the correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Correction, affirms and swears to the following: that I am a correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, that I have been assigned to WCU unit of Westville Correctional Facility since December 11th of 2022, currently assigned to B-Pod, that I have been an acting supervisor in A-Pod, where the defendant is housed since late February, early March of 2023, that I do not practice Odinism, and that Norse paganism, heathenry, is my practicing religion. Hi, Crime Sleuthin. Hi, Hossein. Hey, Richie. Yeah. I do not practice Odinism, and that Norse paganism, heathenry, is my practicing religion. So if you guys were concerned that these guys were Odinists, no need. No need to be concerned. They're not Odinists. They don't practice Odinism. He practices Norse paganism, heathenry. We've been looking at this all wrong, guys. We're going to have to start over. We're going to start over. I just can't. I read this and I was like, what? Oh, Sniper, that's such a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. There could actually be more than 5 who are odinous, but not more than 5 have actually requested to have the services. So that's a very good point, Sniper. Thank you for bringing that up. Hi, Bella. Hey, Queen Olive. Yeah. Have to start all over. You guys, we thought it was odinous. It's not. It's just these dang heathens. That I do. Hold on, let me pull this down so you guys can see it. Oh, welcome, Corey. So we're doing a hard reboot now or nah? Yeah, we're just starting. We're gonna just delete every live we've ever done, and we're just starting from scratch. We're gonna have to go start over. All that research down the drain. Hi, Merp. Okay, that I do wear patches on my uniform that identify me as someone who practices Norse paganism heathenry. That I started wearing the patches 6 or 7 months ago, and I did not stop wearing my patches until, guess when, you guys? Guess when? September 22nd of 2023. When ordered by my command to remove the patches. The patches do not represent racism or hatred for anyone. I am not part of a cult. I am not part of a radical hate group. That the patches show my dedication to my faith and to my country. That the defendant is filmed with a handheld camera when he is moved from the cell for his safety. That I interacted with the defendant when I was in charge of holding the handheld camera to film his movements when he is moved from his cell to another area within the facility. That I was also assigned periodically to check on the defendant at his door with his 15-minute checks implemented by his mental health plan. That during the door checks, I would walk to the defendant's cell, make sure he is okay and not at risk of self-harm, and then walk away. That I never threatened the defendant. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism. That I do not know anything about the practice of Odinism. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way. That I have gone above and beyond to not use any kind of force on the defendant, even though there have been times when use of force was justified by standard operating procedures. That there have been times when I have gone above and beyond in order to be gentler with the defendant to prevent him from getting tased. That the defendant was tased twice between May 9th, 2023 and May 25th, 2023, because we could not get him to comply with our orders. That I have never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I have been employed at Westville Correctional Facility. Where were you employed before? I'd like to know. That's an interesting way to state that. He's never had one since he's been there. And he says he's been there. I don't know if that's actually his start date, though. Because that's the WCU unit. But that would be interesting. Oh, here, dumb. See, once again, if I just keep reading, I'd get the answer that I want. That I have been employed with the Department of Corrections since April 4th of 2022, and that this job is my passion and what I love doing. I just need to read a little bit more. You know what? That's a great question. So he was arrested in October. I don't actually think, somebody in chat might know the answer to that. I don't think he was moved until January. Hey, Tornado. Yeah, very imposing 5'4" tall dude. Yeah, you got to watch out for him. Are not completely true. Yeah, they're kind of true. They're just not completely true. That just shows you exactly what the state was talking about, right, Tornado? Do people not realize how absurd it would be for the defense to submit a pack of unsubstantiated rumors, lies, and innuendo to the judge while requesting a Frank's hearing in which truthfulness is the basis? Right. I don't think the defense would be, in my opinion, they're not going to be dishonest, but I've said this a few times. They can pull bits and pieces and put it together, and it doesn't mean they're right or they're wrong. It's just, it's, you know, their version of what they're seeing. That's true, Jen Lu. Little Danilo Cavalcante. If the scene was staged to look like Odinism, then it likely isn't. The holder's fingerprints would also be on file. I think we're being led down the wrong path again. So I started thinking, oh no, here we go. Here we go. I've studied this case for 6 years. Ah, shoot. And never seen or heard any of these Odin reports or Heathens reports. Laughing my butt off. Why now is all this coming out? Now grasp at tainting the case maybe by defense. Well, Johnny, it's actually, if you look back, there are a ton of rabbit holes that have been gone down in regards to, one, Brad Holder himself and his, you know, merry band of misfits, and two, Odinism itself. And if you look at what the prosecutors, or the investigators, I should say, the investigators are kind of stating through their depositions, which we do not have the entire thing, but they're essentially stating they did look into Odinism right off the bat. So something drew their attention to it possibly being Odinism, and they went to Professor, remember, we don't know who he is yet, we really do know who he is, Turco. So, oh, sniper, that's a good point. I'm going to look up and want to make sure that I have the right time. Did anybody say October is domestic violence month? Yes, Bella. I'm going to look up. I just want to make sure. Oh, Music City Mom. He was moved there in November. Why did I think that it was later than that? Okay. So he was moved there in November, and then he started wearing patches 6 or 7 months ago, which then, you know, who knows? In the beginning, that it was described differently. And I do have, as we do this whole rewind on the investigators, you're going to see like some of the things that are said. It's interesting now knowing what we know now. Hi, Mind of Monsters. Per my Googling skills. Good job, Music City Mom. Okay. Now, Robinson's, for whatever reason, I couldn't grab the PDF, but I do have the photos. I should start my own patches. Well, you know what? You guys know I almost started my own, like I had my own rune on my forehead for a while. I was doing my own thing over here. Hey, Delina. All right, let me pull up these. I have this one in photos of Robinson's instead of in a PDF. So just take me an extra step. All right, let's see what Robinson has to say for himself. All right, you guys see that one okay? I don't think he's going to write one. Hi, Foxfire. All right, let's see. Sergeant Joshua Robinson, the correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, affirms and swears to the following: that I am a correctional sergeant at Westville Correctional Facility and have been since October 17th of 2021. I have been employed at Westville Correctional Facility. I've been employed at Westville Correctional Facility since July of 2016. So he's been a sergeant since 2021. Okay, got it. That I am assigned to WCU unit of Westville Correctional Facility, APOD, but have been working on BPOD since spring of 2022. That the defendant is assigned to APOD. that I do not practice odinism, that I do wear patches on my uniform that can be, but are not associated with odinism. Now, we got to take this one down. That I do wear patches on my uniform that can be, but are not associated with odinism. So they can be part of odinism, but he doesn't wear them for that reason. That the patches pay the utmost respect to my religious higher power, the same way a Christian person would wear a cross. Except for the part where it says odinim. Well, that's the whole, it could be like viewed that way by like uneducated outsiders, but you know, it's not. It's really part of this other religion. It just says Odin. I don't know why. Oh gosh. The same way that a Christian person would wear a cross. I am not part of a cult. I am not part of a radical hate group. That I started wearing the patches when the vests were issued to me, and I stopped wearing the patches on September 19th, 2023, per the order of my commander. That the patches do not represent racism or hatred for anyone. That I have never had any interaction with the defendant that was not recorded. That I have never had any one-on-one interaction with the defendant where we were alone together. I like how they keep putting this one-on-one though, because the whole point of it was that it was both of them together. Like that was like the intimidating part too, was that they were together. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had any one-on-one interaction with the defendant where we were alone together. That it would be impossible for me to have any one-on-one interaction with the defendant because policy mandates that anytime you engage with a member of that unit, you must be accompanied by another officer. I mean, I know it's been a little while since now I've read that whole 136 pages, but I don't remember them actually saying that these guys did it individually. That like Jones would go in there and threaten him, and then like the next day Robinson would. I don't remember them saying it was one-on-one. That the defendant is on a security plan that mandates that at least 2 staff members and a video camera are present when interacting with the defendant. That I have interacted with the defendant alongside Sergeant Jones, but that it is always video monitored, because you can't prove if it's not video monitored, right? Because it's not video monitored. So I can tell you that anytime you're ever going to know that I interacted with this person, it's on video, because the other times that I interacted with this person, it's not on video. So that's a mute point to me. It doesn't matter one way or the other. You can't prove the negative. So now if Richard Allen comes forward and says, oh yeah, these guys have totally interacted with me, we are going to believe them because they're the guards and he's the prisoner, even though he's not convicted. That I have never threatened or harassed the defendant. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism. Here we go again. Does that mean that the 2 of you guys have conversations about Odinism? And that the defense memorandum does not say that they did threaten him. It says that if they had threatened him, this could be the outcome of it. That I've never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way. That the only interactions that I have with the defendant are the ones that are required by my duties as a correctional officer. And every interaction that I have had with the defendant has been because I was ordered to do so by command. Ooh, that means anything I would have done was an order. That means I wouldn't be in trouble for it. My boss told me to do it. Command has never ordered me to, well, there you go. Command has never ordered me to threaten or harass or harm the defendant.
So we turn to our Amanda.
Nope, wrong way. When I do speak to the defendant, I give him basic commands as to how to move while he is out of his cell. that all of my interactions with the defendant have been documented on video camera, that I have always treated the defendant with a level of respect and professionalism, that the defense untruthfully targets me as part of a cult, that I am not familiar with the evidence involved in the defendant's case besides what I have seen in the public media, that I have never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I have been employed at Westville Correctional Facility. I swear under penalty of perjury, ... Does the prosecution think this helps their case? Well, yes, because they're not odinous. We've been going down the wrong rabbit hole. It's not odinism. You notice how he doesn't actually say that it's the Norse paganism. Ooh, cooking something yummy. Hey, Elizabeth. All right, let me check it on you guys. Semantics. Yeah. Are not inconsistent with threats. Double negative. So they are consistent. So I'm actually very surprised that, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm actually not. I thought that the state would put something out. I just didn't actually think that they were going to have them write up an affidavit. And then I also find it very interesting that if they didn't think that there was anything wrong with the patches and that this was totally okay, why have them take them off? If they've been able to wear these patches this entire time, it has nothing to do with odinism. It's just like somebody wearing a cross. Why make them take them off? A uniform issued by county or state should never have a patch representing anything. I agree, Carol. Where's Rhonda? Because she knows that too. We talked about that. Oh, she's not here today. But yeah, you can't just go. And the other thing is like in the Warden statement, he's talking about like that they don't have like over 5 odinists that have requested to practice odinism in the prison. And I know that the Supreme Court, we went through that article on a different live, that they passed that, you know, you do have to honor it as a religion, so on and so forth. So why did I'd have to go back and look at the memorandum because I don't remember it being that they were talking about there's like so many odinists in here that was the issue. Maybe they did. But how does that have to do with the guards? So now the question for me is how many guards practice odinism or this Norse paganism? Yeah, that's what I thought too, C-Dub. Because of the guards aren't going to be asking to be able to worship, right? So is there like an accounting of how many guards there are? I don't know. It just seems very coincidental. No, they're trying to find things that are true that no one brought up as an issue. Yeah, so it's like, look at, we never did this, and it's like nobody ever said you did. So why are you like, look at, we didn't do anything wrong. We're the good guys. All right, so I'm going to bring up just the last one. This is just the motion. I just kind of thought this was interesting because this is from the state. I'm not going to necessarily read the whole thing, but this is about discovery and that the defense has requested to have a date that discovery has to be turned over to them. And this is the state's response. And I just kind of, I hate to say it like this, but it just felt really crybaby-ish to me. I was like, you guys have had 6.5 years to put all of this shit in order and give it to any defense team, whether you knew it was going to be Richard or Allen or not. So 5.5 years, and now 6.5. And so it just seemed really crybaby-ish to me. And I'm like, you guys should probably get your crap together because I think it's going to end up being a really bad point. So yes, Christina, or they are wearing patches that could be viewed as odinism, but aren't necessarily. So yes, essentially, I think that's the answer. So I'm going to read you guys this one just because, like I said, it just I don't know. It really rubbed me kind of wrong. The state of Indiana filed 2 counts of murder against the defendant on October 28th. That at the time of the filing, the discovery material in this case consisted of thousands of tips, consisting of phone messages and emails, thousands of police reports, video interviews, audio interviews, lab reports, pictures, phone extractions, and other documents of the like. That this investigation involved multiple law enforcement agencies from around the world, including local and state police, United States Marshals, and the FBI. That when the state filed the charges, the discovery was not in a format that could easily be provided to the defense, meaning that all the paper documents had to be copied or scanned, and all the electronic data had to be copied to an external hard drive, and all the reports from law enforcement had to be collected. You had 5.5 years to get your shit together. So maybe you don't have all of your stuff that has to do with the Richard Allen part, but everything else you've done, why is it a disaster? And this is where most of the complaints are coming from the defense, is the stuff that actually happened back in 2017. So if it's this big of a mess, it's not a surprise to me that anything would have been lost. That this consisted of hundreds of man-hours to copy each paper document associated with a 6-year investigation, along with copying million. Guys, can anybody get your Google out? Get your Google out real quick. I want you guys to Google this, and then you tell me what it says. That this consisted of hundreds of man-hours to copy each paper document associated with a 6-year investigation. I want you to Google millions of terabytes. Google it for me, and then come back and tell me what you find. Millions of terabytes. You guys tell me how much that is. I'm going to talk to you guys while the other ones of you Google it. Millions of terabytes. Just want you guys to know it's millions. Hi, MK. Mind blow. Yeah, 5.5 years. Still don't have it together. I want to see the patches. Well, the defense put what they stated that they believe the patches were. They put that in the memorandum. They put pictures of them. I will be that he knew some guys in Odin, and they were nicest guys you would ever meet. I agree with that too. 1 quintillion bytes. It's wait, 1 million terabytes. No, it's a lot. Yes, it's a lot. Trillion bytes. So you've got millions of terabytes. It's too big. It's too big to even fathom. Their statement of millions of terabytes guarantees that the defense does not have all the discovery. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't even... 1 zettabyte is approximately equal to 1,000 exabytes or 1 billion terabytes. Hi, Sleuthy Goosey. Stupid Google. Yeah, it's huge. That would not, they don't have that. So now we're just like totally exaggerating in the documents. That's what she said. Hi, Crime Curious. Yeah, it's like when I Googled it, it says like it's like bigger than, it's more data than like the Library of Congress. Oh, God. Hi, KTM. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that I just wanted you guys to see that for yourselves. Like it's yeah, the state believes it has turned over everything in its possession and has no objection to a discovery deadline. That the state may learn of information in a deposition setting where defense counsel is present that will need to be investigated to prepare for trial. That does not mean that the state has reopened any investigation. It simply means that the state is doing its due diligence to prepare for trial. Now, your due diligence to prepare for trial against Richard Allen, you've chosen to take the time to depose the odinous. That makes sense to me. It's because they need to have something documented. You're now taking the time to prepare for trial by going and finding the professor that's been lost for 5 years, 5.5 years, 6 years, whatever you want to say. You're now going to take the time to contact him and meet with him, apologizing that it took you 3 to 4 weeks to actually sit down with him. How can one of the wrenches get that? Block that. I don't have YouTube up. So yeah, to prepare for trial, you've decided to go talk to the professor who told you that wasn't Odinism, or so you said that they said it wasn't Odinism. You've chosen to go re-talk to him where he now tells you it is Odinism, and you're doing that to prepare for trial against Richard Allen. Tom. Wrong website. Me too, Crime Sleuthin'. I don't know. They haven't popped up for a while, but you know, hey. I don't know who got it, but thanks, guys. It's still, even though a wrench got it, like it still shows up on StreamYard, which is irritating too. Yeah, the second you walk away, I need a wrench. Hey, Bushi. Okay. But they haven't reopened any investigation, you guys. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. There's no reopened investigation, and there's no odinous guards. That the state will discover any exculpatory evidence received in preparation for trial. That the defense theory that the state is intentionally withholding evidence because it is exculpatory is not true. That there was never any evidence intentionally withheld from the defense at any time. That the state does not believe it is in possession of any exculpatory evidence for the defense. Where are the interviews then? And why did you not tell them who the professor was? Yeah, Tornado, from what I can tell, thank you, Allie. From what I can tell, it's what they're trying, the defense is like quoted by mainstream media saying that they believe the prosecution has reopened the case based on these new interviews that they've gone back to talk to people. And now the defense is saying, no. That's not the case. We're not reopening anything. We're just doing our due diligence before trial. But you're taking time to investigate things that you already investigated and said that they didn't mean anything back in 2017. Yeah, but what about the other actors? Oh yeah, we don't know who they are because now there's no other actors. There's no other actors anymore. It's just Richard Allen. That the allegation that the state held on to evidence until it knew about the defense's theory has no basis or facts in support thereof, except for you went back and interviewed all the people that they said you guys screwed up, and then you guys somehow got that information to the warden, who then told the guys to take their patches off. So yeah, you're saying like held on to evidence. I don't know. I'm thinking you did something shady. Whether you purposely held on to it, whether you've lost it, or you're just not paying attention to what the hell's happening. Because if you are spending thousands of hours, thousands of man hours in October once the arrest was made, why was none of that organized? Every investigator that's been interviewed on this case, and I can tell you now that I've gone back through most of the investigator interviews, has said, we do believe that there will be an arrest. We do believe this case will be solved. Carter, Doug Carter likes the whole, we're just one piece away, one puzzle piece away from an arrest. That was his big thing. If that's the case, then why wasn't all of this organized to go to trial? that the defense has not turned over one piece of evidence from their investigation. Hold on. Any additional, okay, I think I went too far. About the defense theory. Okay. Any additional requests for discovery have been answered, and any discovery in possession of the state pursuant to the request has been turned over. That the defense has not turned over one piece of evidence from their investigation, interviews, or their participation in this case. This is where I was like, is this a little crybaby-ish? They're like, but the defense isn't giving us evidence either. That the state requests, and I know that they have to get it, but I'm just like, come on. I think a lot of their evidence is actually your evidence, guys. I mean, from their memorandum, it looks like their evidence is what you guys either are hiding or haven't done, besides the depositions, which you guys were there for because they're your depositions. That the state requests any discovery deadline be imposed upon both parties, I think that's fair, and the defendant be subject to Carroll County local rules in which the defendant is required to disclose the names of any witnesses he intends to call at trial or at any hearing, along with their last known addresses, copies of their recorded statements and or recorded statements, any books, papers, documents, photographs, and tangible objects he intends to use as evidence at trial or any hearing, any medical, scientific, or expert witness evaluation, statements, reports, or testimony, which may be used at trial or any hearing or any defense, procedural or substantive, which the defendant intends to make at any hearing or trial, any record of prior criminal convictions known to the defendant or defense counsel that may be used for impeachment of the person whom the defense intends to call at any hearing or trial, that the state has received no reciprocal discovery thus far. Further, the state would ask the court to admonish the defense to turn over any evidence as they get it and not dump all of their evidence on the state on November 1st, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana. Here's your Nicholas McClelland affidavit. He's like, you guys want to say that I didn't give you my stuff? Then I'm going to say you guys didn't give me your stuff. And they probably haven't. They probably haven't, because I think a lot of what they've done is having to put these pieces together. And now they've been doing the depositions, and from their memorandum, a lot of their depositions were actually just done in August. So they don't have, I mean, I think that they were putting a lot of puzzle pieces together. They misspelled copying, yes. Genuine empathy and is very rehearsed in all he says. Just my opinion, Mr. Sniffles. I think that he has a genuine care for the families, but I don't, I think that he was a face. That's what the whole point, that's the whole point of that. Okay, I will. Hi, Chris. The more I hear, the more I don't know why I have this stupid pop-up. The more I hear, the more I believe Richard is innocent and they are railroading him. I'm not sure that I believe that he is necessarily innocent yet. But they are really pushing me away from him being able to be found guilty. Prosecutor had to admit to the defense's claims, otherwise they would be prosecuted themselves. I think that the biggest thing is if there was nothing wrong with the guards wearing the patches, why would you tell the guards to take the patches off? And I highly doubt that the warden was like, oh, let me go ahead and read this 136-page memorandum. Logically, I believe that somebody would have contacted him and said, hey, I'm not there yet. But I'm not sure that they're going to find him guilty. Not with the way things are going. Everything is just such a mess. I think that the biggest evidence against him, Sleuthy, in my opinion, it's the timing. The biggest thing is the timing of the girls. That's going to be the thing. If they can prove that those girls are the same girls that Richard Allen saw, it throws his whole time out the window. But he says he saw 3 girls, and there was supposedly 4 girls walking. Well, yeah. Yeah, those people have never studied false confessions or how many innocent people are actually in prison or how many innocent people have actually been killed on death sentences they're completely innocent, and yet they're no longer here because somebody railroaded them and got a conviction. That's why it's important to we got to pay attention to all the facts. According to the memo, they took them off prior to the memo being written. Right. According to the one guy who worked with the other guy, right? It wasn't the defense attorney. It was like their employee that they were allowed to bring with, and he was allowed to like talk about it. He wrote an affidavit that said he believed they had been removed. Well, that would be interesting too. That's right, Tony. Gotta be proven. Okay, let me see what the message is real quick. I possibly can. Does that make them go away, Shay? She said to turn it on subscribers only mode, it'll make those bots go away. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you want to chat. So I'm about to change it. Uno momento. I'm only going to do a minute. Let me know if that works. You need a subscriber patch. It doesn't have to be Odinism patches. It can be, but it just has to say something about subscribe. Yeah, 1 out of 4 girls is Kelsey's best friend, whom she was with that day and showed up at the station with, yet it was 2020 before said best friend was interviewed and gave 3-year-old timestamp screenshots. Yeah, and that person was Kelsey's boyfriend's sister. So, yeah, but she didn't see, Kelsey says, okay, so one of the 4 girls that was there is Kelsey was dating this boy. So Kelsey was supposedly going to go over to her boyfriend's house to do something to help him. I've heard back and forth, and I don't even know what's actually true about that anymore, was that that's why she told the girl she wasn't going to go with them to the bridge, was because she'd already made other plans before she was going to go to work. And then she got there. The boyfriend supposedly wasn't there. So she hung out with his dad. I don't even know if that's true. That's in my memory, so take that for what you want. But she said that her boyfriend's younger sister was one of the 4 at the bridge, but she didn't actually see her at the bridge. But she called her boyfriend while she was dropping off the girls. Hey, Anna. What happened? Johnny, you can't see you? Oh my God, I've been blocked. No, you haven't. You're here. You're safe. This is such a fiasco. Hey, Richie. How did they sneak in? Richie was sleeping on the job. Freaking Richie. Take your wrench with some responsibility. Is the 3 to 4 week sit down allowed an attempt to maintain plausible deniability in the August deposition? Well, that's a great point, but what they're saying is that she, hold on, I read 2 comments and now I'm all confused. What they're saying about the 3 to 4 week sit down is that they were going back to just make sure that they had all their, P's and Q's, I's dotted and T's crossed. I said it right this time. But in my opinion, they don't have the information from the beginning. They don't have the conversation, or what do they say, intentionally or recklessly have lost or not given the original conversation they had with the professor, which we know is supposedly documented because Purdy physically had a document in his hand, he said, that he read, but nobody could remember the name of the guy. So I think that they're trying to go back and like talk to these people in order to have some type of documentation to give to the defense and say, hey, yeah, you know, we might not have that original one, but here's the new one. Well, it kind of bit them in the butt because now Turco's like, yeah, this is what I believe. And I also talked to my Harvard buddy and this is what he believes. So they give it to the defense, and the defense says they don't mark it as Purdue professor. They just mark it with his name. So like they had to go in themselves and figure out who the hell this dude even was. And then they figured out he was the professor. And then they figured out, wait a minute, you guys did know his name. Okay. What time did she go to lunch? Okay, what time did Kelsey go to lunch? Oh, I think that's actually, I hate to say anything bad about Kelsey, but I don't think that we've gotten a clear answer on her actual day. This is why I'm confused about the whole going back and forth with the boyfriend. Was he even home? And then there was like the rumor, or she said, I don't even remember now, that she went over there and watched a movie with his dad because he wasn't there. And then I think that's when the sister comes home, and that's when she's hanging out with the sister. And then she's supposedly going to work or at work, and then they call her, and she goes to the bridge, says she's not really there for very long, and then she leaves and goes to the headquarters to get questioned. So that would have been, she's not called until about 4:30 maybe. Well, he calls, Derek gets there at like 3:11, right? I might be off by minutes. I don't remember. Gets there at like 3:11. He starts calling Becky Patty at like 3:30. And then I think they get a hold of Mike Patty around 4. This is when he sees flannel shirt guy. So they probably would have called Kelsey right around then. I'm going to say that she had to have gone to lunch with her friend from anywhere from 1:49 when they see her dropping off the car to 3:30. But when she's supposedly helping her boyfriend do something, but yet she's now watching a movie with his dad. I don't know. Damn it, Becky. Hi, Rexy. Oh, member for 5 months. Thank you, love. Oh, saying if they watched Thor, then we're going to have a real problem. Probably watched the Loki show. Oh, that's new. They denied the motion to move RA to another facility, correct? Originally, but they just put in a new one, and I don't think that there's been an answer on that. If somebody in chat knows, let me know. I don't think there's been an answer on that. The defense has, okay, so the state requested the medical stuff from Richard Allen so that they would have access to all the same things that they're saying that the defense has access to, blah, blah, blah. And the defense says, yeah, no, we want those subpoenas quashed. That's the last I've heard of that. I don't think there's been any ruling on him being denied again. Lisa Lee, that depends on who you ask, honestly. JC Marty, that's, yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I don't know how far into that I want to go. But I do have a lot of Kelsey interviews lined up for the next one on the family interviews. So we can definitely dig more into what she says and see what they, what we can pick out of that. Hi, Midwest Mimo. Someone in chat the other week claimed RA was in a secret, safe, protected facility now that nobody knows about, not even guards or inmates. Is that a grave? And somebody has to know where he is. Oh, I just saw it on Court TV, and it's on their Twitter at Court TV 8 minutes ago. I can't hear it because I've got this playing, but title appears to say it's denied. Let's take a look because I've been on here, so I haven't even seen. Let's pull it up before we go back in time. Court TV. Okay, well, it's not on YouTube. Let me go to their Twitter. I just signed into Twitter in the Defense Diaries podcast right there, and it's all, well, this seems to confirm that the patches were being worn by the guards. Dun, dun, dun. Court TV. Let's see. It's on here. You guys can't hear it? Crap. Okay, hold on. You can't hear it? Oh, thank you, MK. Dang it, maybe when I shared the screen originally, I didn't share audio. Freaking StreamYard. Like, audio is just a given. Play the damn audio. Silly rabbit. All right, here we go. Now, yes.
Shocking new details in the Delphi double murder case out of Indiana. The state is again calling claims from the defense colorful and dramatic, but they do admit part of their claims were true. The defense want defendant Richard Allen moved out of the Westville Correctional Facility, where the state says he must remain for his own safety. Well, the judge ruled on that issue once already, denying the defense's motion to have him moved. But then the defense claimed that white nationalists who practice Odinism were responsible for the murders of Abby and Libby German and Abby Williams, and Libby German in 2017, and that Allen was unsafe at the prison because guards wearing Odin patches were threatening him. Well, today the state filed a response that includes affidavits from the two guards named in the defense's filings. The men say that they did wear religious patches on their uniforms, and in one case, that could be considered an Odin patch until they were asked to stop when the defense raised the issue. Now, the second guard says the patch he wears is for the Norse pagan heathenry, which is a religion that he practices. Again, both men and the warden swear they have never intimidated or threatened the defendant. All right, let's bring in our guest for this hour. Joining me is criminal defense attorney and former
Okay, so I think it's a tad clickbaity because they're saying yes, that it was denied because it was already denied. That's my assumption. And then let's see how long this is. Oh, this is only another minute. Let's see what they have to say. I'll keep playing it for a second.
Marsha Minot. Marsha, great to see you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, I read it like heathenry. That's what yeah, he called it like heathenry. Yeah, I don't know, heathenry. Got to listen to some more music.
I believe it's the first time I've gotten you on our show, so very happy to have you. All right, let's begin right there with the Delphi case. I was shocked to read that, in fact, there were patches being worn on uniforms worn by the officers, the corrections officers at that, uniforms worn by the officers. that in fact,
Hold on, I'm gonna go back far enough. Shit.
I was shocked to read
Here's
that in fact, there were patches being worn on uniforms worn by the officers who, the corrections officers at that particular correctional facility. That's got to be an issue, and it was. They've got them taken out. But your thoughts on this idea that, you know, they're wearing these patches and that can create issues for the defense and for the defendant?
You would think that in a situation where the case is such a high-profile case, that these individuals working at that facility would make sure that there's not even the appearance of any type of intimidation or impropriety. So I am extremely surprised that it would wear a patch that would signify what it has for this defendant.
Now, something else that they were claiming here, Richard Allen, the prosecution in this case wants more of his medical records since he's been in that correctional facility. Now, in his claim that he wanted to be moved, he claimed that problems were going on. There were some examinations done, but they're saying the state's not entitled to those. Those are protected examinations, protected records, because there is no mental defense being raised in this case. What are your thoughts about that? Should the state have access to any kind of examinations done since he was put in that facility?
Well, the state cannot go on a fishing expedition, and unless the defense has raised something in its case in chief that would require the state to need this evidence, such as medical records, which is such a sensitive record, to use in order to combat whatever allegations the state is making. I do not agree with the state having access because they're not permitted by law to go on a fishing expedition for medical records.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, it seems like a reach. And again, doesn't seem to be any real legal reason that they need it. It sounds like a fishing expedition. We'll see what the judge decides.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's okay, Crime Sleuth. And yeah, no, because if they said something, I would definitely want to hear it. Yeah, it's no biggie. I appreciate it. I liked his face though when he was reading it. Sniper? No, I don't. I did not know that, and I don't even want to tell you that I'm going to remember that because I think that would be a lie. I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. I did not know that, and if I did, I don't remember it. The arrow keys will? Okay, I'll try it. I'm going to try to remember. Yeah, BR. Supposedly he was saying when they went to court that one time, like, don't shock me again. Don't shock me. Don't shock me. Don't let him shock me. Don't let him shock me. No, and I get it. I get it. Like if you have a defendant or you have a prisoner that is out of going to cause harm to themselves or harm to others, you do have to take the precautions. But yeah, are they going there? Is the prosecutor going on a fishing expedition? I think they're going on a fishing expedition, in my opinion, on trying to get his mental health records. Yeah, because they want that. They want to be able to have all of that for trial. They want it beforehand, but they shouldn't have a right to it. It doesn't. My issue with the whole thing is you just shouldn't even be there. It's not proper protocol. Like, why is this even being talked about in the courtroom at this point? Like, he doesn't feel safe there. He's not a convicted felon, even though he may be later. He's not now, and yet they're treating him like he's a convicted felon. He just shouldn't be there. So I don't even know why it's up for like conversation. So it'd be a lot different if he was being held in jail and they were doing the proper protocols, and then they were saying this is happening and that's happening and so on and so forth. And then the prosecutors over here going, no, this isn't happening. We have these people. We have. Okay, so here's another thing. You have the prosecutors are now saying, hey, we're subpoenaing all of his medical records, his mental health records. We want all of this stuff. But yet, where's all the affidavits from those people that they're saying, hey, we need this because of XYZ? Why don't they need that? They had to put out the narrative for the guards because of the Odinism. And they're saying, well, we're not the ones that are doing XYZ. We're not harming him. We're not one-on-one having these threatening moments. We can't be alone with him. So why Does that make sense? Does my question make sense? Maybe I'm confusing myself. Not necessarily tornado. It depends on the jail. You get a nice small little jail. I don't know. You don't need a lot of privileges. Plus you're right there by your family. So by heathens, are they proudly supporting being atheists? Because then I don't understand how they're wearing it to support their religion. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I got a message from my husband. Give me 1 second. Well, let's look at what he says he is. He's a Nordic paganism, heathenry. Now, obviously, this is going to just be an overall, not a deep dive, because that's not what I wanted to do today. So I just wanted to take a look at it. Its practices, the deities, the powers, the spirits, the ancestors. Let's see. Here's a little introduction. It's a modern neo-pagan spirituality informed by the folkloric practices, customs, beliefs, and worldviews of pre-Christian Northern European civilizations. People who practice heathenry are known as heathens. This particular guide focuses on a subsection of heathenry known as Norse heathenry, also called Norse paganism. See, this is that, and I'm not going to say it right probably, but that's that asatru. Asatro. Like the name suggests, Norse paganism is a modern adaptation of old spiritual practices and beliefs held by the ancient Norse people. We tend to think of Vikings when we think of the Norse, but Viking was a specific occupation, and not all Norse people were Vikings. The Norse were people like any other, and as such, they had different occupations, observed different lifestyle choices, and held different values. The one thing they did share was culture from their spiritual practices of originate, which their spiritual practices originate. Got it. I'm dumb. This guide is designed to give readers essential tools to develop a fulfilling Norse pagan practice. The aim is to, okay, hold on. You guys want me to go to, the deities? Let's see. There are a ton of deities in the Norse pantheon. Some are very well known, while others are very obscure. The gods appear in many stories, folklore, sagas, and myths passed down through the ages. They are commonly referred to as Aesir. A few of them are also called I'm not saying these right, I know it, I'm sure. Vanir, in a reference to their tribe of origin. The page talks about individual Norse deities. For information on the Norse pagan perspective, see this. There's Loki. There's Odin. There's Odin. Yeah, Thor and Loki are the sons of Odin. So I guess it's just not called Odinism? Is that really what we're getting at here? That's the bottom line of this? I'm going to drop this in here so you guys can look at what I was just looking at if you guys want to. Yes, the Rockaways, apparently they do. That's what I was saying. It doesn't make any sense. It's just not called Odinism. They're not Odinist. Their title is different. And the only way I can kind of understand that is like by saying like many religions worship God and Jesus Christ, but their names are different. You know, Methodist or Baptists, and you know, like their focus is different. So is it something like that? And like I told you guys, I am not a religion buff, so is that comment not seen? Odinism. Oh, here. Odinism, Anglo-Saxon heathenry, and Norse paganism are all related but distinct branches of the broader category of Germanic paganism. Okay, so it's kind of like what I'm thinking in my head. Who's on first, Dasein? Who's on first? Who's on second? Okay, that makes sense, Tom. Thank you. That's kind of how I'm understanding it. So it's like, you know, somebody says like, oh, you're a Baptist. And I'm like, no, I'm not a Baptist. I'm a Methodist, or something along those lines. All leads back to Odin. And they talk about being heathens. I mean, so I think that, so is the issue here, the term, does it fall to the terminology that the defense used by calling them Odinists versus paganists? Should they, I mean, if we took the word Odinism out of the memorandum and put in Norse paganism, is that, I mean, does that, would they go, oh, okay, now, yeah, that's true. Do you see what I'm saying? Right. Okay. Yeah, it's just semantics. That's what I'm, okay. None of that shit matters. None of that shit matters. Move on. All right, we're gonna move on from it. None of that shit matters. It's all they all worship Odin, and I think that it's just they don't like the terminology that was used because that's not the Odinites. Yeah, they're not Odinites. Right. Okay. I put that in the chat. You guys can take a look at it. I'll also add it. I'll add it to the sources for this live if you guys want to see that later. Okay, now I want to talk about, all right, before we move on, or before I move on, do you guys have any other things you want to comment on that, or any other questions regarding the documents and this stuff? I think we're all pretty much on the same page. We'll kind of understand exactly what they're trying to do. And then I'm going to go to the part what we were supposed to be doing today, which is a look back at the investigator stuff. And I wanted to show you guys something that I found. Like I said, you guys may have seen it, but I'd never seen it. I'm going to pull that up while you guys tell me if you have any other questions. And then I got to find, didn't Kelsey say they were listening to, yeah, they were listening to the song Heathens, which she said was Libby's favorite song. Hi, Peyton. BH is an Odinist extremist, like an Islamic extremist, twisted a peaceful religion into their own desires and rituals. Well, I guess the big thing is can you tie like a Brad Holder or a Patrick Westfall? Can you tie them to a Sergeant Jones or Sergeant Robinson? Can you tie them together in any which way? And then for the prosecutor at this point, can you tie Richard Allen to any of those types of people, which according to the memorandum and the bits and pieces of the depositions we've heard, no, you can't. So I can't get past. I know that there's other people out there who are like, it's just sticks. It was just sticks that were thrown. It's just sticks that were thrown. And, you know, they were just, the bad guy was just trying to cover up the bodies. And they happened to land in this certain way that looked like whatever. And I cannot get past that it's not the defense team who's come up with this. The people who were first on the scene reported that something was off. something was different, something was odd. They're the ones who went and started questioning everything to start out with. The defense isn't the first one to question it. So that makes me think that there has to be something to it. Whether the defense understands it by looking at the pictures perfectly, I don't think it's fair to expect them to. I keep going back to the fact that they thought that when they walked to the scene. When they walked up, they were like, whoa, something's up here. Okay, I got to pull up two things for you guys. So I have one up, I think, and then I'm going to pull up the other one. Where is the reward money? Yeah, it would be interesting if Dan Dulan gets it. I don't know who gets it. Who gets it? It was like $325K. It was something crazy. I need to pull up the hot mic, I think is what it was. Remember when we went through the press conferences and a couple of you guys in chat were talking about the hot mic from the February 22nd, 2017 press conference? And it's like like they didn't turn the mic off before the press conference or after. So I still can't really understand a lot of what's being said there, but what I did find interesting, and I'm going to see if I can pause it at this spot. I tried to take a screenshot right here at the end. Let's see if I can find you guys the spot. No, it must be past here. I'm gonna let it play for just a second so I can see if I can pause it on the right one. This cop right here, that's Dan Dulan. I'm almost positive that's Dan Dulan that's right there at the press conference on February 22nd. Right there. This guy right here. My truth and transparency. Yeah, right here. This guy. That's Dan Dulan. Who were like, hey, aren't you guys, like, you guys are sitting here talking about the guy that I talked to just a couple days ago. That's who you're talking about. And you're sending out these still images of this video of this guy who's wearing XYZ. And I just talked to him. So I tried to nail down a date, Tornado. I was trying my best to nail down a date from what I actually have been reading, and I cannot validate this, but what I've read is that Richard Allen actually called in on if you guys have a source that tells you something different, please share it with me so I can be concrete on my answer here, because like I said, right now, this is just what I have been reading, is that Richard Allen called on February 13th to let them know his inconsequential information that because he was at the trail that day, that he actually called that night. Now, like I said, if you guys know something different, please let me know. That he called them that night, and then on February 14th, Dan Dulan went and met with him at the grocery store before the girls were actually found. So like I said, I cannot find a concrete proof of that anywhere. Like I got an actual document that says, hey, this is legit. So I read that from multiple sources, and I don't know if those sources over 6.5 years or whatever amount of time now, over a year, that it's come out. Yeah, before so yeah, okay. So you're saying the same thing. Yeah, that Richard Allen called in and was like, hey, I was at the bridge that day. I didn't see anything but these three girls. You know, his original, I saw these three girls, but I saw nobody else at the bridge. I only saw these three girls. And he says that it was three. And Dan Dulan writes down on the notes, hold on, I got a tiny human alert. Give me 1 second. So you guys want to go on a mission looking and trying to find something that actually proves one way or the other when he actually talked to him. I know it was right off the bat, but when I went back through, like, even the memorandum and through the search warrant and the probable cause affidavit, it doesn't tell me a date. It just says that he met with him, or that Richard Allen called in quickly, and so on and so on. If you can find something that's documented that tells you the date, please send it to me, because I do not want to put out bad info. Like I said, what I have read is that he called them the night of the 13th. Dan Dulan met with him on the 14th before the girls were found. They did. They spoke. Yeah. Here, let me show you. So I just thought that was really interesting, because it's not like Dan Dulan's out doing his job and like just doesn't know what's happening with this. Like they found the girls. Dan Dulan goes back to doing whatever Dan Dulan does. I was like, wait a minute, Mr. Dulan, you're literally standing here at the press conference. Let me show you what they say he said. So, come on, you guys, don't do this. Because this is because my computer shut down. I'm gonna have to go back and pull it back up. Maybe not. Right here. Investigators reviewing tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. The narrative stated Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Let me blow that up for you guys so you guys can see it better. 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw three females. This is from his original interview. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or videos. His cell did not list an IMEI, but did have the following potential follow-up information. Who were the three girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? Now, we know that three girls were interviewed, although there were four there. They never interviewed the fourth girl. They never even interviewed those three girls immediately. Well, not that we know of, because what's documented actually states that they interviewed, I think it was like two of them the next year, and then the third one 2 years later. I'd have to go back and actually double check my dates, but it was not right away that they got this information from them. And this is the one that we were talking about earlier, that one of those girls is the little sister to the guy that Kelsey was dating at the time. We also don't know if they asked any of these people to give a sketch, but we do know that all of their descriptions of the guy do not match. So it's just interesting, because I know that there's people out there who are like, wait a minute, he saw the girls and the girls saw him. And that's like the one big thing to me, is you have to prove that that's the same group of girls. If you can prove it's the same group of girls, it's going to show that Richard Allen lied. But why everybody's like, well, he says he saw him, and then they saw him. And I'm like, I get it. But there was four girls. There's four girls. And Betsy Blair, who's driving there, do I have my map up? I don't. Well, that's right, because everything closed. Let me show you. Let me pull the map up. All right, hold on. Okay, this is not a finished product, but I'm going to show you guys just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Betsy Blair is driving, and you see this okay? Betsy Blair is driving up Old State Road 25 right here. And this is the Freedom Bridge. And she sees the 4 girls walking. So she sees 4 girls. While she's driving, she sees them walking and leaving. And then she drives up and around, and then she's over here. But she notices 4 girls. Now, she notices 4 girls while she's driving. Why, when he's walking on a small little trail, I mean, it's not small, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you're right next to people. He notices 3 of the girls, but not the 4th. And they don't ever interview the 4th. I just find that very interesting. And they're like, well, she was young. Okay, so she was young, but all of them were essentially minors. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense to me. But he only saw 3 girls. So what if he gets there at 12:30 and he sees 3 girls leaving? They're saying that they've basically accounted for everybody that was at the bridge, right? How do we know that he doesn't see 3 other girls leaving? We don't know that. Yeah, so Betsy Blair, I'll just show you Betsy Blair's real quick. Betsy Blair drives up Old State Road 25, comes across here, comes down 300 North, this way, this way, this way. She gets seen on camera right here at the Harvest Store. She's seen. She comes up here. She parks, and she gets out. She walks the bridge. So she's coming there at 1:46 p.m. She comes out. She parks over here across from the Mears farm. She walks over here, gets onto the trail, because remember, this is still just a trail. She doesn't see them yet. That's on the way back. She walks up here, gets to the edge of the bridge, says she sees the guy 50 feet in front of her, who's the young guy who's out on platform 1, right here. She sees him. She turns around. She walks back. On her way back, she sees the girls halfway through, or halfway from the bridge back to the trail, the trail crossing. She walks back this way and continues to walk. And then she goes back to her car, and then she leaves. And that's when she sees the 1965, or what reminded her of her dad's, old car. So she leaves at 2:14, out. Now, he would have gotten there he's driving this way, west, at 1:27. Richard Allen is. 1:27, he's going west. Now, they're saying that that's when he's on his way to park. I don't know how you can prove that. I don't know how you can prove that. Because Betsy Blair drives by the old CPS building. Then you have this guy over here who sees the PT Cruiser, and then you have another guy who I don't have on here yet who sees a smart car. PT Cruiser, smart car, Betsy Blair driving by, doesn't see anything until she's leaving when she sees the old car. Which one? Richard Allen? I don't know. This is through all the documents. I was gonna say it might have been in the memorandum. It's gonna be one of those 3, because that's the ones that I added today, and this is one I added today. So it's gonna be one of those 3. It's gonna be either the search warrant, the probable cause, or the memorandum. So I also have an issue Oh, see, that's a whole, we're going to end up down a different rabbit hole, and that's not, you guys want to go down a different rabbit hole? Then we can do investigators a different day. Because I have a whole other rabbit hole, which is why I even started doing this. There's also no reason to only have his car on cam once and decide to put in PCA unless you did see it twice. Once at 12 when he said he showed up, and once when he was leaving, which they did. Okay, so you guys tell me, do you want to go down this other rabbit hole, or do you want to go with the investigators? I could just change the thumbnail if that's what you guys want to do. You guys are the ones that are here. You guys want to go down map rabbit hole? Tell me if you want to go map or investigators. You tell me. Because we'll do both eventually. I just don't have the answers for this one yet, so maybe you guys can help me figure it out. You're the leader. Well, I've been doing both, so I have all of this in my head. I don't even know how my brain is even working. Go down the rabbit hole. Okay. So, do you want me to pull it up, Sleuthy, so I can tell you exactly what report I found it in? I can pull them up, if that would help. But I know it's going to be one of those. Okay, so investigators. Oh, investigators. Okay, rabbit hole, maps. Oh, you guys. Okay, I'll just take you down a mini rabbit hole, and then we'll go to the investigators. How about that? You want to do that? We'll do a little bit of both. Word vomit all over us. I have with going through these. Okay, I can't go down the rabbit hole yet. I haven't finished my Dan Dulan story. Okay, you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait for my rabbit hole on the map. I gotta finish my Dan Dulan story. Hold on. See, I got too much in my brain, you guys. Hold on. Will there be food? Okay, let me finish Dan Dulan's story first. So everybody knows by now who Dan Dulan is. He's the conservation guy who takes the statement. We're not 100% sure on the day, but from everything I've seen, he actually takes the statement on the 14th before the girls are actually found. Dan Dulan never comes forward and says, hey, I interviewed a guy who was wearing all of these clothes, so on and so forth. There has been a shit ton of speculation since the PCA was released about this whole missing, how did this tip get lost? And I'm going to tell you about Dulan while you air fry a hot pocket. I want truth, no speculation. I can give you truth, but it's going to have some added speculation because my brain isn't going to work anything else. So I'm going to give you the facts, and then you can take with it what you want. But I wouldn't be wild if it was actually one or more females that did it. It seems like that has never been considered. That's hip hop. There's like whole channels that are dedicated to saying that it's Kelsey, that it was Kelsey and her, and possibly her adopted uncle. There's like I'm telling you, could go down 50,000 rabbit holes. I don't even look that direction. That's not where I've headed. Yeah. He was a volunteer fireman too at the time. So Dan Dulan, he had this tip that got buried and he never brings it up in all of these years. And so I found this article today, and you guys, once again, this part's fact. You can take the speculation as far as you want to. So Richard Allen was arrested on October 28th. He was brought in for questioning at the beginning of October. They did the search warrant. I think it was like October 13th, 2022. In June of 2022, Tobe, this is lovely Tobe Lesenby right here, gave a scholarship to a young man named Colin Dulan. Colin Dulan is Dan Dulan's kid. So I said, you guys can take the speculation whatever direction you want to. But I thought it was really interesting that he got a scholarship. We know it's his kid, just in case anybody's like, no, that may not be his kid. It actually tells us. Where does it tell us? It does tell us. Yeah, Tobe Lesenby, on behalf of the Indiana Sheriff's Association, awarded the scholarships to Colin Dulan, who recently graduated from Delphi Community High School. He is planning on attending Vincennes University in the fall of 2022 and wants to be a conservation law enforcement officer. Dulan is the son of Nicole and Dan Dulan of rural Delphi. This is that's why I said you guys may have seen this. I was doing some research today and I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, you take one for the team, Dulan. You're the fire chief and your kid gets to go to college. Just tell him you fucking lost your tip. I don't know. It made me go, wait a minute. Now, are they connected? There is no proof of that. So for those of you who are like, we want only proof and no speculation, then all we have proof of is that Dan Dulan is now fire chief and that his kid got a scholarship. Good for his kid. Good job, kid. You want speculation? It made me go, wait a minute. Oh, so yeah, and they talk about like the it's not a huge crime. There's not a ton of crime there. Oh, I have that one too. Hold on. Let's look a little bit of Dulan. This is the next one. Let me pull that one up. Freaking Dan Dulan. So this one is back in 2015. They spent 3 hours looking for a body that had been spotted drifting down Deer Creek through Delphi. Hi, Richie. Yeah. Oh, J.O. Yes. One of the girls was awarded Abby's scholarship, the one that was the younger sister of the boyfriend. And I get it's a small town, so maybe there's just not a lot of options, but yes. Yep, that's the one. Yep, she got the Abby scholarship. God is always with you today. Yeah, Bree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get a lot of scholarships. They're not like a huge sum of money. Yeah, so this is the body that was floating down the river that they literally couldn't find. Floating down, not the river, creek. It was floating down Deer Creek, same creek. They couldn't find this body, and so it got dark, so they just called off the search. There you go. Here's Natural Resources Lieutenant Dan Dulan with his colleagues. Yeah, let me pull that one up too. So this is it's a little 4-year-old boy, also in the Delphi, in the creek. Indiana Conservation have returned to Deer Creek and Riley Park to search for the 4-year-old boy who was swept away Thursday evening. Lieutenant Dan Dulan of the Indiana Department of Natural Resources said children at Riley Park called Carroll County Police around 6 p.m. after they saw the boy enter the water in Deer Creek before being swept away in the strong current. This little man is Owen Jones. So conservation officers arrived and began searching, but the boy has not been found. Dulan said officers will continue to search until it becomes too dark. When it becomes too dark and too dangerous for them to continue. So they will stop searching for when it gets too dark. You know what? I don't actually know. Tornado. Yeah. Well, okay. So what started me down this rabbit hole, I'm glad that you said that, was because there's a gentleman named Eric Williams who was one of the searchers the night that they were on February 13th. It was one of the searchers, and he said it was basically pitch black out there. This is the searcher, if you guys remember, who literally was, I'm not good with the measurement of it, but he was very, very close to where the bodies were found. And they told him that it was too dark and they were calling off the search. And he didn't have a flashlight, so he ended up leaving, even though he was so close to, he would have found the girls that night. If he had literally kept on the exact path he was walking, he would have found the girls that night. But he turned around and left because they said they were calling off the search. So he did an interview and saying that everything was dark. And I was like, wait a minute. One of the families, and I don't remember if it was Abby's mom or if it was Becky Patty, said that it was lit up, that they had it lit up out there like a football field. And I might not be quoting it exactly right because I haven't been able to find that quote again, but that's what led me down part of that rabbit hole, was because I was like, wait a minute. Explain this. First person named Dave Erskine, who also in Flora Fire, says Libby was the target and it was a pre-plan. They knew what to do with Abby. So Dave Erskine is Abby's step uncle. Yeah, I'm just like, so them calling off searches is totally a normal happenstance. And here's my issue with this. Like I was telling you guys, the first article was from 2015. This one's from 2019. The girls obviously passed away in 2017. You have an issue with your freaking creek and you don't have any way to search at night? You've now called off multiple, and this is only the ones that I found. Yeah, they said it was lit up, but he says it was dark. So they just stopped. They stopped searching for all of these people. They also used the excuse, which is another reason it brought me back to these two cases, is that they used the excuse that they called off the search because originally they really didn't, like a Christmas tree. That's what it was. It was lit up like a Christmas tree. But they had said that originally they didn't think that, they weren't like looking at foul play. They thought maybe the girls were hanging out with their friends and lost track of time. And Abby's mom actually says in one interview that she remembered being like at the police station thinking about how these girls were going to be grounded for the next year because of what, because they were doing this, they were out messing around or whatever. That's why they called off the search, because there wasn't the huge concern about foul play or something bad happening. But it was cold. It was February. Even though they say it was like unseasonably warm that day, it was still only 50 during the day. So how in this amount of time do they not have the ability to stay out there and look for anybody? And you have a creek that is obviously very dangerous. Hold on, let me go back up. Yeah, you've had years to fund whatever you needed. And I love that they funded for $1 million for a the memorial park, but even the parents were, the grandparents and the parents were like, all the things that are at the park weren't even necessary. Like, come on. It was like over $1 million for that memorial park. Like, let's get some high-powered flashlights. I was thinking the clothes in the shoe in the river view from bridge planted to make sure find bodies in AM. Oh, that's interesting. Corrupt to the core. Yeah, Dudley do wrong, Dan Dulan. Like I brought in the media. Jordan. Hi, honey. 11 months. Jeez, that's just crazy to me. Why didn't they use it? Why didn't they use anything? Because they all left. They said that some of the volunteer firefighters and some of the families stayed behind, and they had flashlights. So that wasn't everybody. So then how did they light it up like a Christmas tree? That's a question that I still have. It doesn't, or I was thinking football field, but still. Criminality. I know this case way too well. I'm 5 years plus. Trust me, I was wrong at the beginning, but now I get what has all occurred. In my opinion, later on, I will have a channel expose most corrupt about the case. In my opinion. Well, do you have a channel? God is always with you. Do you have it? Do you have a channel to do that? Yeah, choppers are good for chases. They had choppers, so we can't say that there was no choppers. I know that one was obviously the media, the RTV6 channel, because that's like the main one from the next day when they were searching that everybody's kind of like skimmed through. But in that one, you can see another chopper. So that's not the, I mean, the news wasn't the only chopper. Yeah, they had the dog team ready. Well, they say they called the dog team off after the girls were found because they only had the dog team there to search for the girls. That's the whole excuse behind that. Yeah, the newsfeed of people out there late at night. Yeah, Eric Williams was out there, and he was out there at night, but he did leave beforehand, before anything was lit up. They tried to find him. Don't be dumb. I assume that you're talking about Owen Jones, and they tried to find him. They quit searching. They specifically stated they quit searching because it was too dark. Not that they didn't try to find him, nor am I saying they didn't try to find him. Why didn't they raise funds for a jail to house the perpetrators? You had searchers pissing, shitting, and cigarettes on scene, as Sergeant Riley said in the interview. Yes, he does. He talks about that that was a mess. They had no organization. And I don't think, well, one, they probably weren't used to having any type of search like that. So that was a huge issue. And they screwed up the crime scene themselves, or any potential evidence going from. And two, and let anybody and everybody in there to search because they thought they were just searching for some girls that might just be like lost or stuck or whatever. Yeah, no, they don't. The police department doesn't have the helicopter. I'm just saying they did have access to helicopters because we saw them. Oh, Sleuthy, that's exciting. Okay, well, let me know your channel name. I'll definitely. You're welcome to email me anything that you think that I should see. Yeah, let's get receipts for that park. And yeah, lights. You'd see Closing Creek from bridge, right? Yeah, they definitely do. That's why I'm like, they had access to the helicopters. They were there the next day. We see them. He's definitely one of them. Did one of the searchers leak something? Okay, so there's a couple things that were quote unquote leaked, Jordan. So David Erskine, who was Abby's step uncle, was one of the searchers who had a conversation. And the last time I actually talked about this and showed his text messages, I didn't want to confirm that they were real or not real because I didn't have I knew there was an interview, but I didn't have it to be able to say it. So I kind of just left it like some people believed it and some people didn't. But Anna, who was his stepsister, said that they were legitimate messages. And I now have that interview to show when we go through the family stuff. Hire a PI. Well, the families had ultimate faith in law enforcement. Tweeted the clip the other day with a quote about Elvis. Oh, I'll take a look. Let me see. Yes, and when the evidence bag for undergarments, that means this isolated panties not with lib, shirt, and shoe. So speaking of, that's another thing I did want to clear up with you guys. When we went through the clothing, I said that there was 3 socks missing because there was one report that says it's a pair of underwear and a sock, right? But there is, hold on. I did not pull up this photo, which is also one of the ones that was given to Gavin Fish that we talked about before, where you can see the shoe, the underwear, and the tie-dye shirt. This is a pink sock. So if one sock is missing and then one sock is here, we don't know about the other 2 socks, if they are on Abby or not, because they don't mention that in any of the affidavits that I've read through. So they very well could be because they put her shoes back on. But there was a YouTuber I was listening to the other day who was talking about there's no way that Abby was undressed because of the jeans comment. And if you guys remember, I went through the jeans and how when Libby was reported missing, she was reported missing wearing gray sweatpants. And so, but then that memorandum says that the bad guy put Libby's jeans on Abby. And so somebody was like, no, obviously that's not the case. Those are just Abby's jeans because Libby wasn't wearing jeans. And so they probably didn't get her undressed. And I was like, wait a minute. If the other picture that we know is underwear, and let's just say they're Libby's, it doesn't really matter at this point. There is one pair that's accounted for in that photo, right? Let me show it to you. In this one, if there's one pair that's accounted for and they know that one pair is missing, is that how they're like proving Shelly? Really? Can you find where she said that? So that would mean that there's still the pair that would be missing that they're looking for during the search warrant. Becky thought she had sweatpants on, but was mistaken. Well, didn't Kelsey also say she had sweatpants on? They once again, so Gavin Fish received these photos. He specifically states that he did not vet them, but the person sent him the photos along with the metadata for each photo taken. And so that's the best that's the best I got for you when it comes to that. They could be something not important, that could be important. The whole thing is that when we know they found Libby's shoe on the south side of the creek. And we know, according to the memorandum, they found Libby's other shoe underneath Abby. Libby was reportedly wearing, with black lettering. That's what I thought too. Libby had black yoga pants. I was lucky to see the crime scene pics before Keener took them down. Wow. Before Keener took them down? Jeans under sweats. It's a cold weather trick. Yeah, I mean, I just have not heard that. She was at, Shelly, do you remember what interview that was? I might have it like queued for us to be able to watch on the family rewind. This is a Nike shoe. This is a Nike shoe right here. You can see it's black and it's got the Nike. And then there's the other photo that it's definitely a Nike shoe. Or are you saying that the one under Abby isn't? Right there. And that's the tie-dye shirt. So this is just from the other side. Yeah, but I just mean I mean, it's still cold. It's just unseasonably warm. It's just warm for that time. Yeah, I don't know why she would have jeans on. I'm gonna have to look. It wasn't an interview. It was asked in private. Oh, shoot. Okay. I mentioned the clothes placed there at a later time. I believe RA switched Abby and Libby's clothes. I'm sure you can message her and ask her yourself. I've never spoke with Becky. I'm sure she probably wouldn't mind. I don't know. I feel bad asking her anything, especially now because everything's under such a gag order. I don't know. The one shoe was found near the road, not the creek. Well, according the other shoe was still on Libby. Well, according to the memorandum, it was under Abby. I'm super confused. According to the memorandum, one shoe was under Abby. And according to the searchers, the other one was found, this one was found on the south side of the creek, along with the shirt and the underwear. And then also in the documents, they specifically say that the clothes were thrown into the river. Okay, Shelley, thank you. Abby was wearing Libby's clothes as she had stayed overnight at her house. Well, she was found wearing supposedly Libby's jeans, her own maroon shirt that she already had on that she was pictured in from the day before, and a gray sweatshirt that belonged to Kelsey. It was a zip-up hoodie. And they talk about that she had her Converse shoes back on. So if she was found in Libby's sweatshirt, that's the pullover that we went through on the last live. If RA and Abby were to cross, they would have been waist height. Chances of hypothermia and shock is so high. Plus, it was fast current going 8 miles per hour. Well, I also have an issue with them. I have an issue with them going through the river regardless, just because supposedly nothing was wet. Nobody mentions anything being wet, and that's a problem for me because in that weather, those clothes would not be dry. Yes. So, and Kelsey gave her a sweatshirt because she didn't have one, and Libby had one in Kelsey's car, so she gave Kelsey her own Kelsey gave Libby's own sweatshirt that was in Kelsey's car. Right. It is that. Well, maybe. Do you have an email address? I can send you a link if you want to. Abby wouldn't fit Libby's jeans. She wouldn't have borrowed her clothes because she stayed over, nor not her jeans anyway. I think that she probably just ended up staying over and slept in her own. These guys are 13 and 14. You guys have kids that are 13 and 14? She would have just slept in her clothes and been in the same clothes. They wouldn't care. They weren't doing anything, so it didn't matter. You know what I mean? There's a place to cross if you know where to go. So, and obviously the map that I have up is not, it's a much different season. Well, that I had up, I should say. Where'd it go? There it is. It's obviously a different season, but I do know from other people who live in that area, they have said that they think that they could have gone like further up here and gone across where it wouldn't have been so yuck. Like they wouldn't have actually been in water to go across. That they would have traveled like up through here where it's closer and they wouldn't have been as wet. BG, yeah. This info of Abby wearing Libby's clothes was said in an answer to a question to the presser. I'm not sure which one, though. I mean, I know that she was wearing Kelsey's sweatshirt. Hi, Thistle. It was flooding? Okay. That's why I said I don't know. I know I have had people that have said that there is a place that you can walk across where you would get wet, but it wouldn't have been like the 3.5 foot deep that they say it was at that time. So yeah, it's been a long day. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys my mini rabbit hole so you guys can tell me what you think, if you guys have an answer or what you think of it. And then now we've already been on here for over 2 hours, so I'm going to probably end up having to push the investigator one because there's so much. There's just no way I can do. I can't do it justice. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this, and then you guys can tell me what you think of that, and then we can play around on the map if you guys want to, because I have some questions. So they don't specifically say where Sarah saw BG on 300, but they give like some direction that he's walking west on the north side of 300 North. So they don't give you like a mile marker or anything like that. But if he's walking west, he's obviously going this way. And if he was up here, because I've heard other people say that she would have seen him up here by the CPS building, but that doesn't make sense because then technically he would be walking north. You see what I mean? So if he's walking west on the north side, then and she's over here at 357, and she sees him walking this direction. You guys with me so far? You can't close it, baby? Hold on one second.
I'm going to keep it anyway because I don't want to take it to the kitchen.
Why? You want me to keep it?
Too many on that.
Now you have a tummy ache? Oh no, too many Swedish fish?
I will go to the kitchen, but I don't want to do it.
Okay, I'm still live, my love muffin. I'll be done soon, okay? Okay.
Can I have a popsicle so I can feel better?
A popsicle you think is going to make you feel better? Oh, we have to have dinner. Okay.
Can I have my soda pop?
Then you're going to go to the kitchen.
Yeah, but I don't feel good.
Okay, just go, babe. He ate too many Swedish fish, and now he's got a tummy ache. He did it on accident, though. He is pretty cute, Shelly. I agree. Okay. Let me see. Yes, I live out here up north, and yes, we had big snow, but like the days after, it was warm, and a lot of it melted away, but nights were cold, so river might have been high them couple of days. Let me see. Hey, Humanimal, welcome back. Probably because LW found it prudent to block a suspicious vehicle in until they knew it wasn't related. And if it's missing, they can say it was because they didn't have much room to park. Yeah. Tiny human alert. You guys are funny. Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate that. Okay, so if he's walking, so a lot of people have speculated that he killed the girls, he went through the cemetery, went up to 300 North, and then goes and walks back to his car, right? And then here comes Sarah driving down. Here she sees him muddy, not bloody, maybe muddy, bloody, depending on who you talk to. And my question then is, if he's parked over here and he's walking on 300 North, then you have the issue of the camera. There's a camera that's filming and that catches all these cars. There's the camera. It's like right here on the building, like right there. And it's catching all these cars going by, right? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So how would that camera not have him walking muddy and bloody? He'd be on camera. I know. You got a camera at Mears' home. At this home, the one that is basically, it was like empty at the time though, because somebody was in a nursing home or something. Yeah, so here's, I'm struggling with this. This is why I said this is, I have not finished this, so you guys can tell me what you think. Possible meth related, possible porn related. Is there's the couple that were fighting. Do you guys remember there was a couple that was fighting? And supposedly they saw somebody, so they were on the trail right where it splits right in here. They were here and they saw somebody coming out of the trees. You guys remember that? I can't find what time that was. So then, but I still go back to, so does he, if he knows there's a camera, right? He knows there's a camera. The whole point of them saying that Richard Allen drove by was because he didn't know there was a camera and he took this back way from his house because he lives way over here. So he took the back way to his house, or he took the back way to the bridge so that he wasn't spotted on cameras, but he forgot about this camera. And then I'm like, okay, well, if he forgot about that camera, then why doesn't he just keep walking this way? Right? Okay, let me see what you guys say. Yes. Okay, so you guys remember the couple. Okay, so there's the one that, the flannel shirt guy. So when Derek gets there, he parks and he comes in. You can't really see it on here, but there's another little trail that kind of goes down like this. Maybe you can see it a little bit. It kind of comes down like that because this is a cross. It's like the trail crossing. So he comes in and he actually heads over here and he talks to flannel shirt guy. And flannel shirt guy says, oh yeah, I saw a couple by the bridge. And then it changed to that he saw a couple under the bridge, but the original statement was supposedly by the bridge. Oh, and I hope you feel better. Maybe he did avert the camera. Maybe they knew it was there. True crime crazy, what's going on? Are you okay? Okay, said, why was there never any clarification about the old Farm Bureau building and the CPS building? If RA said old Farm Bureau building, wouldn't they have said that building doesn't exist instead of assuming it was? Well, they just, I don't know how, since we haven't watched his actual interview or have any transcripts of his actual interview, they just change it in the documents and say, hey, he had to be talking about the old CPS building. That's the abandoned building that he parked by had to be the CPS building. And he does say that he saw the 3 girls in the same vicinity that the 4 girls say they saw some guy. He just says it happened at a different time. He says it happened at 12:30, and they say it happened closer to 1:30. He might have crossed behind Hoosier Store. Okay, so you guys don't remember a guy that was here and saw somebody come out of the bushes and start walking on the trail going that way? You guys don't remember that? Hi, Sharon. Duh, I don't know much. Yeah, I can see that. I believe they have stated that there is no farm. Yeah, no, it's the old CPS building. Right. Right. But it's not in the court documentations yet. Ari was on the trails between 1:30 and 3:30. Yet Carbaugh's statement allegedly saw this person at 3:57. So what? Yes. What doesn't make sense anyway, because do I still have that one up, or did it close? Okay, so here the statement says the narrative stated Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Now, I highlighted that somewhere else. Let's see if I can find it. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 to 3:30. This is their narrative. This is who's writing the document. You see the difference, though? Between 1:30 and 3:30 to from 1:30 to 3:30. That's not the same thing. And then when he's interviewed, he said that he was there from 12:30 to 1:30. Now, they're like, so that takes me back to the whole map thing, because they're trying to say that that is proof that he was on his way to park, right? Because he says he parked by the old farm building, an abandoned old farm building. Now, I'm not from around there. So is there somewhere else? Because I do recall people saying that they would park somewhere over here. I don't remember exactly where. By the cemetery, but not in the cemetery, because you can't get through over there really, because there's a gate and that's Ron Logan's property. But there was somewhere else. There was the Mears parking, which this is now gated off, but you used to have there was just dirt and people would park in there, and that was like the Mears parking lot. And then, but there was another building or another place that people said that they parked when they were there. Is it by the cemetery? I didn't think it was in the cemetery, though. I didn't know if there was something else over here, because this is Ron Logan's property. And everybody's like, you can't go on Ron Logan's property, blah, blah, blah. Some other little bridge over there somewhere. So this is supposedly the Mears lot, right? It's across from the Mears. This is the Mears, one of the Mears properties. They have a ton. Another huge problem with the alleged eyewitnesses is all the comparisons and recollections are being made to BG, or the guy in the video, and not to Ari himself. As it's been proven, they're one of the same. Right. Why don't we have any of that? Why don't we have any of that? There's the Freedom Bridge car park, but that's over here, right? And that's where Richard Allen says he did see other cars parked there. I mean, it makes sense that this is the building that he's talking about. Which then would put the 127 if he's driving west, and that's the only time that a car that looks like his, they don't even say it's his car. They say it's a car that looks like his, is this way, is going west. And then it comes up here to park. That would put him going there at 1:30. But I still have an issue with Sarah Carbaugh then. Like I said, they don't give us the exact spot that she sees him in, but he can't be just traveling down 300 North and not getting caught on the camera. A witness that supposedly saw him leave. Correct. The witness that supposedly saw him leave is Sarah Carbaugh, who sees him walking on the north side heading west. Muddy, bloody, according to prosecutors or investigators, and just muddy according to defense, wearing a tan coat, not a blue coat. So the first sketch released, the second one actually made, is off of Sarah Carbaugh, which is the one that I remember clearly being told was supposedly from the video. But that's like gone to the wayside. Nobody even says that anymore. So I don't know where I got that from or how I picked that up. So the first sketch released is the second one actually drawn, and it's based on her description. Now, there's also an interesting tidbit from going through the family interviews that we'll talk about when we do that, is that Abby's mom actually states that she was told that the first sketch released, second one made, the one by Sarah Carbaugh, that they had identified that person and he was no longer a person of interest, and they were changing it to look for another person they believed to be there, which is the Betsy Blair sketch from the guy she saw standing on the first platform. Okay, hold on. There's something weird about that. Have I ever heard? I have heard of a party. I don't remember it being 3 days. I do remember that there was like some party, something happening during that time frame, but I don't remember any details about it. Well, Cody Patty is neighbor, right? Did he call in on RA when his ex Jennifer Allen, who is Allen child, broke up on him? Oh shoot, I don't. Yeah, you're taking me down a totally different rabbit hole that I don't even know if I have an answer for. There, God is always with you. It's not consistent with Mr. Allen's. It's not inconsistent. Yeah, the double negative. It's not inconsistent with it. So it's consistent or it's not consistent either. Absolutely. That's why Eyewitness people demand, they want direct evidence in trials, and they don't want anybody to be convicted off of circumstantial evidence. But direct evidence is an eyewitness. That an eyewitness testimony is considered direct evidence, and they're extremely unreliable. As we know, the group of girls who give their statement all say he's wearing something different because they're not thinking that they need to pay attention to what the dude's wearing. I'll have to look it up. Let you know. Okay, thank you, Shelly. A barbecue at Ron Logan's. Yeah, it's kind of all over it. I'd love to chat with you after this. Don't call him Mr. Allen. He's a cold-blooded killer. Well, not technically. Legally, not legally anyway. Not legally, he's not. He's an innocent man right now. That doesn't mean that he's not. It just means that legally right now he's not. Oh, the hog roast. Yeah, hog roast. Barbecue at Ron Logan's. Party at the cemetery. Right. Same Foxfire. That's where I'm at. Like I try to just piece it all together and see what logically even adds up here. Because right now this doesn't. Okay, God is always with you. Betsy Blair said the young sketch was of a young guy, 16 years old. High adjusted fate. Yeah, I remember even in the memorandum they say that the first time that she says it, he was 20, and then after that, when they talk to her again in 2019, she says supposedly 20 to 30. An innocent man, LOL, just like all the other men named by the word allegedly was never used with them. All the other men named by the word allegedly. I don't know what that means. An innocent man, just like all the other men named by the word allegedly, was never used with them. Huh. Not sure I understand that comment, but I'm not saying that I think the guy is actually innocent. I don't want you guys to misinterpret that. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to figure out if they're prosecuting the right guy or not. And if they are prosecuting the right guy, do they actually have a case where they're going to be able to find this man guilty? That's where I'm at. The cemetery party was high schoolers. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, shouldn't be in a prison. One of the alleged witnesses told her mother that the guy she saw looked like a picture shown to her of James Duval. She said she was never even shown a picture of R.A. ever. The picture of the guy she saw, or the picture, hold on, told her mother that the guy she saw looked like a picture shown to her of James Duval. And is that one of the young girls, Kay? One of the quote-unquote 4 juveniles? Thank you, hippie chick. I'm like, I don't know. You guys got my head spinning. Right. Yes. They asked about a car that was abandoned there. But here's the weird thing. If you watch the helicopter footage, they're set up. One of the what do you call it? The trailers, the police trailers, is set up at the CPS building. I don't know, because, and I understand your point here, Humanimal, but here's the thing, is in the jail, especially being as high profile, I don't know if you can go as safer, because now in the jail, you have how many people who actually work in the jail. So being able to figure out who it is or who's involved would be a lot easier. Now they should have him somewhere that has security measures in place, but I don't think anybody who's not a convicted felon should be in prison. That's just, it's not the way the system is created. We don't even put convicted people who have a term less than a year in prison. We're supposed to put them in jail. So yeah, that would be on the 14th. But if it was abandoned, I'm just saying, if it's an abandoned vehicle, then somebody came and picked up this abandoned vehicle before they got there, it obviously wouldn't have, an abandoned vehicle is abandoned. Right. But wouldn't they see an abandoned car? Yeah. Well, it's also described as a PT Cruiser, and it's also described as a smart car, depending on apparently what direction you're driving. Because the guy who's driving on Old 25 over here, he sees the PT Cruiser. The guy who's driving over here sees a smart car. And then Betsy Blair, who's driving this way, sees a 1965 Comet. That's not abandoned, though, is it? I mean, that's parked. Isn't that just parked? It just doesn't. The word doesn't make sense. You wouldn't. If I go to the mall and I park my car in the parking lot, or even if I go to the park and I park my car in the parking lot, I'm not abandoning my vehicle for 5 hours. I'm just parking it. I just thought it's weird. Which one's a second vehicle, do you think? Yeah, parked. You just say the word parked. Abandoned vehicles, like, man, that shit's been there for a long time. Okay, I have that family tree. It's like a wreath. All right, you guys. Yeah, my head is, you guys got my head all over. Man, I can't go down rabbit holes with all you guys at the same time. You got me going down 50,000 of them. They said the car was abandoned. Princess House, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I can't even think anymore. My brain doesn't work. Look at Adjusted Fates. Like, let me throw in some other stuff. What about the hitchhiker and the young guy waiting on his father? What about Cheyenne's people and her whole crew? Yes, the old CPS building was abandoned. Okay, no worries. I'm about to wrap it up anyway, yeah, because it's dinner time here. Oh, I'm abandoning the car left behind theory for the moment. Okay, we're gonna let it go. Said abandon at old CPS. We just listened to it. Maybe he just misspoke and he meant to say that it was at the old abandoned CPS. Yeah. People should know. They should know. Like, hey, I am busy. I'm listening to Delphi stuff. That's the car left at abandoned CPS. All right, I'll go back and listen. Because in my brain he says the abandoned car. That's what I heard. Now I will come on here and tell you if I'm wrong. A truck was abandoned at the cemetery and towed away. Do you know what date, JC Marty? Oh, he acknowledged that he misspoke. Ellie misspoke and meant the building being abandoned. See, I should just drop a link for you guys so you can come up and just, so you don't have like 50,000 of you have to type the same comment. You're like, Teresa, are you not fucking getting it yet? She had me at abandoned. That's what I'm like, I have to quit. I can't do it. We made the car so sketchy because then I'm like, it says it was an abandoned building. That was Pat Brown. Okay. Pat Brown's vehicle wasn't towed, as I understand it. Pat Brown's truck was the one supposedly left at the cemetery. Orange truck belonged to Pat Brown. And someone questioned about the cemetery. Yes, and so that car got towed, right? Pat Brown left his car there. Is anybody going to tell me that that's incorrect? If Pat Brown is just somebody who lived in the area, correct? I mean, why didn't he just take his car home? He didn't live far. Wife brought him keys. All right, let's see. Let's see if I put that in. Orange truck, Delphi. I feel like I'm living on Reddit right now in this chat with you guys. It's like Reddit in real life. I'm gonna look here. They look for the car approximately 12 to 5. Yep, the girls have been driven to the minimum. Dun, 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 dun. This person says there was a dark-colored SUV that Kelsey recently reported that she saw with black decals in the window. I don't know if I know anything about that one. I'll have to dig more into the car thing because I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it to speak on it with any actual information. Hey, Lynn. Ooh. Pat Brown's wife? Why? How is it relevant that McLean is related to the German family and was raised by Terry and Brad German? And if that's not a conflict of interest, then there's no such thing. Seriously, I don't know how he's even able to prosecute the case. That he found the girls, the get-go. The whole county is a conflict of interest, maybe the state. It was said on scanner. It wasn't the case, though. A truckload is said over scanners, and no, it's just as people understand things at the time. Also, I mean, the other thing about scanners is that you got multiple cases that, not cases, I shouldn't say cases, multiple things that could be going through, and then people sometimes get a piece that has something to do with a different call, and they don't know the numbers, and they don't understand the call signs, and then they think that that has to do with what they're listening to, and then that gets put out on Reddit or Facebook or YouTube, and this is probably my favorite comment. The whole county is just a conflict of interest. Well, like I was saying, I mean, I've got their family tree. It was a bit of it's a bit of a wreath. Right? I am. I did. We went through all the press conferences. We went back through all the Ron Logan stuff. I've got interviews for all the investigators, as many as I could find in the amount of time. Now that I have more time, maybe I'll even find more. I was trying to just pull all the bits and pieces. I have all that. I pulled a ton of the family interviews to go through. I've got this stupid rabbit hole that I was stuck in all day with. I don't understand how he's walking up 300 North and isn't seen on the Harvest Store camera. And somebody tried to help me figure that out. So that's where I was at, going back through documents and adding different things to the map because it just didn't make sense. And then I was like, wait a minute, I remember, and none of you guys remember, even you guys who've been around from the very beginning, don't remember a guy who said he saw somebody coming out of the bushes here? Nobody remembers that. Reddit is that. Reddit, I don't normally communicate on there at all. It does. It's just, it gets a little tough. Yes, she did. I knew that. He was defense attorney on Derek, and when family evict David Jones and Adam's family, so much conflict of interest, including with the Florida fire. He's not, yeah, but if he's legally adopted, then he's legally family. So it depends on the legalities behind it. Like a lot of people would say, like when I was young, my brother's best friend lived with us. My mom called him her foster kid, and then and now they're in their 50s, and he still says that's his adopted mom. There's no legal you know what I mean? Like not legally adopted.
Mama,
Yes, my love muffin. Okay. JC Marty. I was listening to so many of her interviews. Give me 1 second, you guys. You want to be someone's love muffin? She really is, and it's tough because she changes things up a bit, and in a world that we live in true crime, you can't do that, and it's like I mean, I don't know if it's. I just think it comes down to that she's not a very good communicator, and like she said before, Like she was very introverted and very shy, and she's tried to like come like more vocal and out of her shell because that's how Libby was, and she wants to kind of live for Libby. And I think she says some dumb things that people go, oh my gosh. Yes, you animal. I'm going to have to look at the investigators another time. I know. I'm sorry. Well, the documents threw off the whole thing, and then I don't even know how we ended up where we ended up. I'm going to have to, yeah, we're going to do the documents. I will probably be on tomorrow at about 4 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll do the investigators then. And then I still have the family ones too. So we have a couple more big rabbit holes to go down, and then I also want to go over the Eric Williams interviews, which is like kind of like the searchers. I said earlier, I know that there are people out there that that do believe she is. Yeah, all the shirts I've heard that. That's why I'm like, I don't really know, and I've never spoken to her. So I hate to give an opinion. I just know that she's either really bad at communication or there's something I know why people feel the way they feel about her, but I also just don't know if it's just like the dumb kid going through a tragedy being thrown into a world that she doesn't understand. I don't know. And because I don't know her. And I think that that's one of those, you probably would have to know her better before. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to give an opinion because I don't know. I can't tell. I get a different read so many times. He's just a mouthpiece. I don't think that guy knows shit about shit, to be honest with you. Live every day. 4 Central Time. Okay, so it's 5 Mountain, 6 Central. It'll be 6 Central tomorrow. I got to take a middle child to an orthodontist. Into the GT, the big G. Yeah, I get that. It's almost like she's probably not, but maybe it's helping her heal. This is why I hate to even speak on the whole Kelsey thing, because I honestly don't even have, I've gone back and forth, not that whether she's like actually part of it necessarily, but more like, what is she talking about? And why is she saying the things that she's saying? And why did she say it this way? And then the next day she says it this way. I've gone all over the place. And like I said, I can't tell if it's just the immaturity, the not being a good communicator. She probably is not the right person to be doing interviews in the public. But then, like I said, maybe that helps her heal. I mean, she went through major trauma. I don't know. I can't answer that. She throws me into like the weird spots where I feel like with like Harley from the Gannon Stout case, and where I feel like with Bethany and Dylan in the Idaho 4 case. Like I don't know how I truly feel, and I go back and forth like 1,000 different times. And so I want to pass zero judgment, because sometimes it just has to do with people I don't understand. Because I'll tell you right now, there's other YouTubers out there that I'm like, how the what? I just don't get them. I don't get them. Gray uses a Gray. Oh, you talk about Gray Hughes. He donates to the International Identify. That's not the right name of it. But it's Colleen Fitzpatrick who does a lot of the Jane and John Does, and that's my favorite thing about Gray Hughes, is that he is helping to give names, using his channel to help give names to people who've lost their names for many, many years. Yeah. No, it doesn't mean he's always right, because I actually disagree with him on a few things. But I don't have any issue. I have no issues with Gray. I don't chat a lot in his chats, typically because nobody talks to me in there. I feel like if you're live, and I know people give me shit for it all the time. They're like, you talk too much to your chat. And I'm like, isn't that kind of the point of the live, is like to interact? I wouldn't know how to not talk to you guys, because otherwise, why am I live? Why don't I just pre-record it and just put it out for you if I just want to talk to myself? And that's kind of how I feel like in some chats. And I'm just like, I'll just listen. I typically will listen to them later so I can listen to them on 2x speed. Yeah, and I do disagree on some stuff. They're both like, there was something that he said about like the clothes. And I'm like, if there's actually a pair of underwear that's missing, then she was undressed. So I disagree, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. He's harsh. He's very cut. That's just his personality. I've gotten compliments from him. He gave me very high praise when I did like the Summer Wells interviews. And then there's other times where he came into the chat and he was like, this is like Amateurville. I just don't take it personally because I just don't care. We're not friends. So, I mean, it's not going to hurt my feelings what he thinks about me. I probably won't hurt his feelings what I think about him. But I do appreciate him donating. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I am going to wrap it up. I'm going to go make some dinner. This did not go as planned, but thank you guys for hanging out with me. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. You know, you have 1,000 other things you could be doing and other people you could be watching, and you guys choose to come and hang out with me. And it's humbling. And sometimes like today, it got very confusing, but hey, we made it through, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. So, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow, and we will, hopefully nobody will file any motions or crazy affidavits that we have to go through, and we will be able to go back in time and look at the investigator stuff. I'll change out this thumbnail, make it what it actually ended up being, and then we'll be back tomorrow. Go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you mañana.